want to go across now to Sajeeb Wazed Joy, son of the former Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, the eldest grandson of the father of the Bangladeshi nation, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. He's come under the spotlight as Bangladesh faces severe political unrest. His mother and the former Prime Minister now in the national capital in India. Joy, so welcome and thank you for your time. Could you begin by telling our viewers on India Today about the last conversation you had with your mom and the former Prime Minister of Bangladesh? How is she doing now? What is she telling you?
I spoke with her earlier this morning, and she is in good spirits, but she's very disheartened, very disappointed that after she has taken Bangladesh from a country that was a failing country, a failing state, a poor country, with militancy rising, she fought the militancy with an iron hand. She developed Bangladesh into a middle-income country. And today, it's a minority, it's just a vocal minority that turned against her. And so now, she is very disappointed. And frankly speaking, she is done. She's 77 years old. This was going to be her last term. She was going to retire after this anyway. And so she is done with Bangladesh.
So why is it that as a family you've decided that Sheikh Hasina will not be going back to Bangladesh? What does she intend to do with her time? Where do you hope that she goes from here? There are reports of her wanting to go to the United Kingdom. Can you confirm that?
No, the reports of the United Kingdom are false. She has not applied for asylum anywhere. She has not decided. But most likely from now on, as you know, my family, her whole family, we have been settled outside of Bangladesh for decades now. And so she will probably spend more time with her grandchildren around the world.
Do you foresee any trouble in her movement across the world? Because she's left in circumstances where it's uncertain about whether she'll be able to travel. Does she require asylum, or will she be able to move around as a free citizen? Do you have any clarity on that?
No, I don't see her having any problem. She has not done anything wrong. She is not. Our government was regarded as the best government of Bangladesh, so no, I don't see any problem with that.
What expectations do you, your mother and your former government have from the government of Prime Minister Narendra Modi in India?
I feel bad for the government of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the government of India because Bangladesh, we were Sheikh Hasina's government. We were a close ally. We kept fundamentalism at bay. We kept Pakistan's influence out of Bangladesh. And now that influence is going to come back. Already you have minority temples and homes being attacked in Bangladesh. And unfortunately, the Awami League is not there to defend them.
How did the situation unravel so fast and go out of the control of your mother's government? You're saying it's a small vocal minority. From the protests that we saw, the visuals that are coming in from Dhaka and elsewhere in Bangladesh, it seems a lot of the youth were very angry. Why would your mother and the former Prime Minister control the situation?
Because we didn't want to have a bloodbath or a massacre. In order to control protests, the only option is to use force. And my mother actually she made the decision not to use force on the students. And she chose to step down rather than have a massacre of students.
But the fact also is that 300 protesters died in the protest building up to her departure from Bangladesh. So it's not as if force wasn't used. Force was used. Attempts were made to quell the protest. That didn't happen, which is what brought us to this very precarious position.
Yes, but out of those 300, almost half were innocent bystanders and policemen. So they weren't killed by the government forces. They were killed by, if you call them protesters killing people and policemen, do you call them protesters or do you call them terrorists?
So what do you, when you see these pictures of your grandfather's statues being attacked, the house of the Prime Minister being ransacked, what do you think is going on? Who are these people? Are they normal Bangladeshi university college students, or do you think these are hardline fundamentalists possibly the Jamaat-e-Islami who are involved. What's your interpretation of how this protest got so violent and so aggressive?
Oh, absolutely. These are 100% the violent extremist Jamaat-e-Islami that are involved, because the normal people of Bangladesh would never, even in the coup of 1975, they did not destroy the home of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, the father of the nation. These Islamists, the Rajakars who opposed our independence, they are the ones who burnt it down. So they are the ones who are attacking this. And so our students, while they think they are saving Bangladesh, they have actually allied themselves with the fundamentalist Rajakars who oppose the independence of Bangladesh. That is what they have done. They have basically brought them back and given them carte blanche to do whatever they want.
The spark for the protest seemed to have been the quota which was introduced, where it appeared to be students who you're calling Razakars, that those who were associated with your family, your party, during the fight for the freedom movement of Bangladesh, they were the ones who, through reservation, would gain disproportionately at the cost of other Bangladeshi nationals, and that's really what upset them. Do you think, in hindsight, it was a big mistake to drag that on for so long, and Sheikh Hasina should have moved with greater dexterity and speed?
Actually, our government did not do that at all. This is a misconception. So we did not call them Rajakars. If you'll remember, it wasn't that our government did not reduce the quota. Our government had reduced the quota. The families of the freedom fighters had sued in court, and it was the courts that reinstated the quota, not our government. And our government rescinded that. Our government did not want to interfere with the court process because it was in the judicial process. However, at the night after the court ruling, people marched in Dhaka University chanting, "We are Rajakars, we are Rajakars." That is the equivalent of marching in Jerusalem saying, "We are Nazis, we are Nazis." So I think this was incited on purpose. That is what escalated this. It was not our government. Our government accepted their demands.
So you yourself were a digital advisor to the Sheikh Hasina government. You led the Digital Bangladesh initiative. You're the ICT, Information Communication Technology Advisor to your government. And there are two faces of Bangladesh. One where it was competing with India on economic parameters, raising per capita, being seen as a textile, garment, export hub, giving India a run for its money, seen as a South Asian economic star, also potentially an Asian star. And yet, outside the glitter which was visible from the outside, it seemed that internally there was a lot of turmoil and disturbance building up. It was a very skewed kind of growth story.
It's not a skewed growth story. Unfortunately, inflation has been rising around the globe, and that is something we had a hard time controlling. This was not completely in our government's control. There's only so much we can do to manage global inflation, which affects Bangladesh as well. And of course, people were unhappy with inflation. But if the people think that throwing out a government because inflation is rising is the solution, well, good luck. Now you have militancy. Now you have Hindus and Hindus being murdered, temples being vandalized. Is that better?
But the charge isn't just of inflation, it's also of acute crony capitalism, where the benefits of this growth seem to have been skewed towards some corporates and families who seem to have close ties with your party and your family, and that seems to have been one of the reasons for widespread anger and discontent against the Sheikh Hasina government.
Well, that is an accusation you can make against the U.S. government as well. But that is not true. You have many people, every businessman in Bangladesh, you can talk to any businessman in Bangladesh, and they will tell you that they prospered in the last 15 years, irrespective of party affiliation.
So now what happens to the Awami League? What happens to the Bangladesh Awami League? There's no clear succession in view. Your mother, you're saying, will not be going back. You yourself reside abroad. So what's the future of the party that brought Bangladesh's freedom?
Unfortunately, all our party members are being targeted by the extremists. And so my priority right now is saving the lives of my party people. Bangladesh's future is no longer my responsibility.
But why not? I mean, as Sheikh Hasina's son? Do you see a time in the future when you want to go back to Bangladesh, hold on to your mother, to your family party, your party, and try and build this afresh?
If the people get the leadership they deserve, if this is the leadership they want, then they deserve it. And my family and I have done this. We have been through 3 coups. This is not even the worst we've had. In 1975, all our party leaders were murdered. And so I am trying to ensure that my party leaders are not murdered. That is my number one priority. The future of Bangladesh is up to the citizens of Bangladesh, and they're going to get the leadership they deserve, and good luck to them. It is no longer my responsibility. We have done it again and again. History will look back at Sheikh Hasina's regime as the golden age of Bangladesh. From now on, Bangladesh will be the next Pakistan. And that is the future of the people of Bangladesh. That is the future they have chosen.
That is why Sheikh Hasina did deliver economic growth. She also didn't give the opposition a fair opportunity at an equal election. I mean, boycotting the opposition, not allowing the opposition to come in, or not creating circumstances where they feel it's a free and fair election, is also a negative on that track record where you're speaking of economic growth. But, democracy and to let the anger come out requires that people see that there be a free election, because for 15 years, the youth of Bangladesh who were most perturbed hadn't seen any other government, and they hadn't seen any other political party in action, which is why all the anger was against the Awami League.
I'm sorry, if you look at all the opinion polls that I publish on my Facebook page 6 months ahead of every election, we were going into a landslide, and our opposition chose to boycott. And this is the problem, is that people have such a short memory, is that if you remember 2013, 14, 15, our opposition, because they knew they were going to lose, they resorted to burning buses, burning civilians, instead of participating in the elections. We cannot force someone to participate in elections. And then if you blame that on us, that is completely unfair. We did not stop the opposition from participating. They chose to, because they knew they were going to lose.
Now, General Waqaruzzaman, who's
now we could have allowed our opposition, even in the last election, to burn people to death. Would that have been better? Would that have been better for us to let the opposition burn civilians to death, like they did in 2013 and 14? We chose not to do that. We chose to enforce law and order, and we ensured a peaceful election.
Are you disappointed with the role of General Waqaruzzaman, the current army chief who was sworn in just a month ago? I'm told he's a relative of your mother on the mother's side, and he was brought in because he was seen as a trusted person. He's the one who came out and resigned, who announced her resignation to the world, and pretty much ensured that Sheikh Hasina had to leave. Are you disappointed with the role of the army chief?
No, I'm not going to criticize him, because he and the Bangladesh army did not want to kill innocent students and cause a massacre. So I respect that.
Was the departure of Sheikh Hasina in the works for a few days? Were you as a family talking about it, or did it happen all of a sudden on Monday? Was it just a very sudden decision, or was it building up?
No, my mother had decided on Saturday to resign. She was going to announce it, and the only thing is we wanted a peaceful transition of power. However, it became very clear that the agitators and protesters and extremists would not be appeased with any sort of measure. And so at that point it became clear, and my mother did not wish to leave the country, but my family and I, we persuaded her to leave.
Okay, so what do you see happen from now? Do you see the army staying in control for a while? Are you hoping for early elections? When those elections happen, will the Awami League participate in the elections?
No, the BNP and Jamatis are ensuring that they're trying to kill and eliminate the Awami League. They've targeted all of the leaders of the Awami League. They've been killing our people, burning their homes, and they are guaranteeing, and of course the army and the interim government has not even has not even talked to the Awami League. So these elections are going to be one-sided, and I don't know what's going to happen. and it's no longer our problem.
There's been a lot of reportage which suggests that the ISI, the Inter-Services Intelligence Agency of Pakistan, had elements involved in fomenting these protests, aggravating the crisis, provoking the students. Do you see Pakistan and their deep state having a role to play in the crisis in Bangladesh?
I suspect that. I do not have any evidence of it, but I strongly suspect that.
There's also been talk of China being potentially involved, that the trip that Sheikh Hasina made to Beijing didn't go well. She had to come back earlier. What's your sense of that visit to Beijing?
No, that is not true at all. The trip to Beijing was very successful. China has never interfered, and China was very supportive of our government as well. And we have friendly relations with both India and China. It's not one versus the other for us. Our policy was very simple: friendship to all. And China is not involved in this at all. This is
finally. What's your message to the youth in Bangladesh and others who may be listening to you right now, given that Bangladesh is still in a very tumultuous state and that peace and calm haven't fully been restored in the streets? What's your message back home?
My message back home is that the people get the leadership they deserve. This is what you have chosen. Good luck, and don't count on the Awami League and Sheikh Hasina saving you again.
The Bangladeshi Prime Minister says an interim government will be formed after dissolving parliament. Former Premier Khalida Zia has been asked to be released. She'll apparently have an important role to play. So you see the political tide turning completely as a result of this?
Possibly, but now you have these other factions. You know, they're bringing in Muhammad Yunus to lead the interim government. You have the students on one side, you have the intellectuals on the other side, and I think there's going to be chaos. And at the end of the day, what the students don't realize, they might have been able to mobilize, but the only reason they succeeded was because they had BNP Jamaat with firearms in the background, and when these firearms are turned on the students will learn a lesson. Because BNP Jamaat wants elections quickly, and the students don't want BNP Jamaat back, but they have no political force. So good luck to them.
Well, Sajeeb Wazed Joy, your anger, frustration, anguish comes through very strong. We wish you all the best. Thank you for taking out time and speaking to India. Thank you.
Thank you very much.